Today we're setting out on the very first prolonged trip in Jerry, the pickup truck we're building to drive around the world. It's been 3 solid months of 7-day weeks to get the truck to a point where it's comfortable, safe, and legal to drive. We've thrown into the box what few items of camping gear we have, along with a hodgepodge of tools and a couple coolers of food. Now we just need to get our customary trip starting Timmy's fix, Jerry's first full tank of fuel, and we'll be off on our inaugural shakedown trip.
There is nothing better than the first sip of ice cap on a hot, sunny day.
This is actually the first full tank of fuel I have put into the truck since purchasing it over 2 years ago. At $2.34 per liter for diesel, it's an expensive fill. But one of the objectives of this trip is to learn the fuel efficiency of the truck. And I'm really hoping that this relic of a diesel engine is as fuel efficient as the internet claims it is. The other objective of this trip is to get into some of the more remote towns of North Vancouver Island, to get eyes on, and see if there's a place out there for us to settle down one day when we return from our world tour. We're not attempting to get into any hard-to-reach areas or secret spots, just riverside camps, wreck sites, and back roads for us on this one. But, as we will find out soon enough, adventures can take a quick turn when you least expect it. First on our list of small towns to visit is Tassis, a small industry town at the end of a winding road on the west coast. As we've left home late, we won't make it there tonight though. First camp for us on this trip will be on the side of a small river.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Whew.
Huh? Gotta put Jerry in 4-wheel drive.
So it's funny, we don't have a working HVAC system in the truck yet. It's just a complicated one and Alex hasn't gotten to it. So while we're driving, it's a pretty warm day for BC, but as we're driving, the heat is just blasting in the cab and we're both just sweating. Our lower bodies especially just sweating. It's like we're in Central America.
Would you quiet down over there, bud? Just trying to talk to the camera over here and you're making such a racket.
Yeah. Get off it, would ya? How cold's the water?
It's perfect.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite nice. I think it's still gonna be cold. Woo! Here you go. Come on. Here you go.
Our camping setup on this trip is a little, let's say, eclectic. When we sold our van in Argentina, we had to leave all of our camping gear with the van, and the truck obviously has none of the typical overland accessories to make things a little bit more comfortable. We're using a borrowed tent, thermarests, coolers, camping stove, etc., all of which are haphazardly thrown into totes and strapped into the back of the truck. It works, but it's, kind of clunky.
That was a big spider.
That spooked me, holy heck.
That came from home, hey?
Yep.
Didn't have beer and chips or what?
Yeah. I just wanted to show you guys how abysmally inadequate or unprepared we are for.
We're not unprepared. This is what this kind of camping looks like.
We're very prepared, but
we're just princesses. We're not used to this sort of
we have so much stuff. And we gotta take everything out so that we can put a tent up into the back of the truck.
Why do you feel like this is just an unruly amount of stuff? It's not.
I'm just used to the van life thing. That's all.
Where all our stuff is put away in cupboards, and it's 5 times this amount.
Yeah. Okay.
Cheers. We're too far away from each other. This sucks. All right. Dinner night 1 is a big salad with organic greens, beets, peppers, apples, feta cheese, and then a simple vinaigrette with lemon, honey, olive oil, and everything but the bagel seasoning. And then charcuterie, because I couldn't be bothered to cook anything tonight, and the grocery store was out of rotisserie chickens. How dare they? Alex says the mozzies are out, but I have yet to meet one, so I'm gonna enjoy this while I can.
I have mentioned this before, but oddly enough, British Columbia is a place I haven't explored nearly enough. As the adage goes, you don't need to cross oceans to find adventure. It's often and easily found in your backyard. Apparently, I didn't really listen to that one because I've spent most of my years of travel fleeing BC in search of adventure elsewhere. It wasn't until Meg and I traveled together all the way to the bottom of South America that we realized what we have back home is worthy of a lifetime of exploration. Mountainscapes like this exist literally just off our doorstep, and we access the solitude, peace, and quiet that these mountains offer in just over an hour of driving. Despite having been born on Vancouver Island, I know it even less than the mainland. So having the opportunity to explore close to home is a nice change of pace for us both.
So Meg was having none of the sleeping bag life and decided to bring all of our bedding.
Well, no. I brought 2 twin duvets. Well, because sleeping bags are so hot and it's too warm. Like, don't you want to have the freedom of moving around?
Yes.
Or do you want to be a mummy? We could probably get away with just one comforter.
Anyway, as you can see, it's quite luxurious in our
Truck.
weird truck tent thing.
Well, first night on the road was a partial success.
I got a better sleep than at home.
Meg says she's got a better sleep than at home. I, on the other hand, did not really. I always knew that one of our thermarests has a hole in it, and I found out which one last night, and so I basically slept on a board all night.
I've already offered to switch.
My saint in shining armor.
I don't mind sleeping on the ground. I'm trying to train my fascia.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we're heading to Tassus today, and then back down to Gold River and up towards Was. So let's get on with the day. If you browse the satellite image of the west coast of Vancouver Island, amidst the towering peaks and the myriad of lakes and rivers, you'll find ocean inlets that forge their way deep into the landmass of the island. At the end of a lot of these inlets, you'll find leftover resource extraction camps, and in some cases, the boom towns that resulted from them. At the end of the Tree to Sea Drive, perched on the delta of the Tassus River, you'll find the small town of Tassus. I can't say that we've been harboring any high hopes of finding a home there, but neither of us have been, and it's as good a place as any to start the hunt for home. Plus, who's not drawn to a place found at the end of the road? We are by no means doing an in-depth look into each town this time around, so grabbing a coffee and a bite to eat, then a quick pass through the neighborhood will suffice as a visit. If we're really drawn to a place, we'll come back for another visit later on.
Excited about coffee? Yeah. Give it a sip.
Nice. Lucky.
My brain stem's frozen.
A short drive back in the opposite direction and a quick pass through Gold River, and we are approaching the end of the 28 at the mouth of the Gold River, where it meets the Muchalat Inlet. The views out from the boat launch towards Nootka Sound in the Pacific are profoundly beautiful here. But as we were due to reach camp up closer to Was, we only stayed for a quick look and then pressed on back north.
Well, as all the other Overlander channels say, a good adventure starts with airing down the tires. Hashtag Overlanding. What?
Squat-tastic.
Driving north from Gold River into the evening, it was like entering into a movie set. Gold and green hues, rock and roll on the radio, and wilderness views rolling past our windows while the turbo spooled and our rickety diesel carried us into the sunset.
Well, we found camp, and Meg is making dinner. Oh. What is it tonight, babe?
Flank steak and salad. The steak got away on me a little, but
Sure, it's gonna be delicious. That's certainly shaken, not stirred.
Cheers.
Cheers. Come here.
Oh. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
That's the stuff.
Despite being on a camping trip, it's midweek and Meg has to work. So before leaving camp each day, Meg puts in about 3 to 4 hours of online work with the help of our Starlink, and after backing up our footage from the day previous, I pack up camp and get us ready to move again. It's not ideal, but heck, this is our office view. Once we've had our morning dip in whichever body of water we've camped beside, it's time to press on and see what else is in store for us.
Alright, it's time to air up some tires. Alright, so something that we learned on the Pan American Highway, especially down in South America, is that it is absolutely vital to your sanity to be able to air up your tires very, very quickly after having aired them down. In South America, it would go from tarmac to really bad gravel to worse road surface, back to tarmac, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth all the time. And so we were constantly having to get out of the van, air up our tires, and then air them back down, so on and so forth. And we had a pretty good compressor, and it aired up the tires pretty quickly. And I knew that going forward, I was going to have to do the same, because there's absolutely no way that I was going to do a world tour and not be able to air up tires super quickly. And something that my friend Bernie once said is that if you can't air up your tires quickly, then you're less likely to air down your tires. And airing down your tires just makes your ride that much smoother, that much more comfortable, and it's actually easier on the vehicle. So, it's good to have a good compressor. We're working with Wolfbox on this one. This is the Wolfbox Hyperflow air compressor. This is a dual piston compressor, and it's super fast. Today we're going to put it to the test, airing up from about 15 psi to highway psi's, and we're going to see how fast it does it. So I conveniently placed 2 battery terminals right here on our bumper, so I don't have to open up the hood. That's really nice. So the Wolfbox Hyperflow compressor has a few fun little features. You've got a light on the front here, so if you're airing up in the middle of the night, you have plenty of light to find your Schrader valves. As well, you can just simply set your PSI that you want.
In this test, we're going to inflate our 35 by 12.5 tires from roughly 15 psi to 50 psi to see just how long it takes. The Wolfbox Hyperflow 60D uses dual high output cylinders to push up to 120 liters of air per minute at 40 psi. Meaning it'll air up 35 to 40 inch tires incredibly quickly. It also has an intelligent auto stop feature, so you just set your target pressure and let it do the work with accurate real-time pressure monitoring. And thanks to its twin-core cooling system, it's built to run cooler, last longer, and keep going when cheaper compressors would be overheating. Even better, Wolfbox is releasing an optional 4-tire inflation system, letting you air up all 4 tires at once and get back on the road even faster. If you're interested in upgrading your compressor, check out the link for the Wolfbox Hyperflow 60D in the description below.
Well, we're currently in Was. We just popped in to see what's here, but also assess some problems with the truck. We were driving around yesterday and hit a cross ditch a little bit quicker than we should have, and it shifted something, and now there's a weird vibration and a sound, and I can't figure out what the heck it is for the life of me. So I'm crawling around underneath the truck trying to find out what the heck is going on here, and I don't know what it is. It's never a good feeling, but that's what shakedown trips are for.
Inconclusive repairs complete, we steer off Highway 19 and back onto gravel. We'll be taking an FSR route from the Zabalos turnoff all the way up to Alice Lake near Port Alice. I mapped this route years ago and intended to drive it with our van before taking the ferry from Port Hardy to Prince Rupert when we started our Pan Am journey, but due to a delay, ran out of time to do it. Now we finally get to cross this route off the list. It's just a gravel FSR that goes north through the middle of the island, but years of disuse has left it grown in some places, and sections of the road partially washed away by rainfall or spring melt. If I'm being honest, it's a long and slow tree tunnel, but it gets fairly remote and passes through some stands of ancient old growth and is just a different way to travel up island. By the end of this section of road, we were hot and sticky from the floor heat cooking us from below and the blazing sun overhead. Although we were headed for a known wreck site, I noticed a short spur off the main road near the south end of a small lake and decided to investigate. When we made it down to the water level, I squeezed the truck down a quad trail that eventually came out onto an open and vacant gravel bar. A perfect place to camp for the night instead of a potentially busy wreck site. After a quick walk, we found a spot where we could set up. I fetched the truck and brought it over, but wanted to back the truck up to the shore and dive into the water, something I've wanted to do for like a super long time. However, it turns out this was not my day to do that.
Oh my gosh!
Almost lost him.
Honey!
I'm sure there were 100 things I could have noticed, but the big one I didn't notice was how soft the shoreline was. A quick dip of the toes into the lake would have been enough to keep me clear of the waterline. A foot too far to the right in about 2 seconds resulted in an hour-long recovery at the end of an already long day of driving. Luckily, I had bought a shovel the day we had left, so at the very least I had that and the winch to get us out.
I literally just said, I'm tired, I feel sick, please don't do this. I guess these are the dumb things that you do when you have four-wheel drive. So we've got a little wood section, and Alex is still digging.
So I'm dropping more air out of the tires down to 10 psi just so we have better flotation. Anything I can do to get us out without having to winch.
My first attempt at driving out was met with failure. The sand and gravel was so loose that the truck simply dug itself deeper and immediately hung itself up on the axles. Some more digging and stringing up our winch line to a bush about 70 feet away, and the truck was able to pull itself out without much effort. This serves as a good reminder to take time scouting places if you're uncertain, and if you're heading to the backcountry, don't leave without proper recovery gear. All that being said, a winch and a shovel was really all we needed to get out.
Oh gosh, do I ever feel bad for Alex? Good job, honey.
Oh yeah!
Well, that was a lot of digging for Alex. He's drenched in sweat. I feel really bad for him. You know that feeling when you get yourself and another person in a real mess, in a real pickle. Anyways, he did a heck lot of digging, and we put a ton of wood under every tire. And yeah, we set up the winch because we just thought, just in case, but I'm pretty sure the wood is really what made the difference, with maybe a little help from our winch friend. But yeah, great.
Whoever comes here after us is gonna think, what a bunch of yahoos getting stuck right on the lake shore like this. Alex, what are your thoughts?
Well, I certainly didn't expect to be using the Warren winch to be retrieving or recovering us this quickly. I'm really happy we got out by ourselves. I really didn't want to go and find someone to pull us out. But I'm gonna just keep that in my memory bank. The old boy's really heavy. Really heavy.
Use a couple of brain cells next time.
Yeah,
Maybe test the ground before you.
Yeah. And just for the record, yes, I know it was not good winch etiquette, and I should have had a tree saver. I should have had a weighted blanket, whatever those things are. I should have had max tracks. I should have had all that stuff, but I did not expect to be doing this on this
Being
trip.
dumb on the shakedown trip.
Then, finally, we got the lake dip that has started this whole debacle.
Woo! Our shoes! Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's a little warmer than the other two.
Yeah.
You got shot like last year. Alright, what's on the menu for tonight?
Crunch wraps.
Crunchwrap Supremes.
Crunch wrap supreme.
I think you're gonna have to explain Crunchwraps.
What? Really? It's Taco Bell. It's a tortilla where you put taco fixins inside it, and it's a crunch wrap because you put a crunch factor in there, tortilla strips, and then you wrap it all up like a little pocket.
Mm.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Cheers. Love you.
Yummy. Crunchy. So in light of recent events, we've decided that we're going to change direction a little bit on this trip and abort.
We were kind of thinking of aborting anyways because there's a whole bunch of rain forecast on Saturday, and this setup that we've got going on is certainly not rainproof. But we're thinking of not going further out because...
Yeah, so I didn't really let on to the whole issue that I explained yesterday while I was under the truck, but we were cruising along the other night, and it was, you know, it was kind of getting, I don't know, darkish. Not really, but we hit a cross ditch doing between like 35 and maybe 45 kilometers per hour. It was fast enough that we slid into it, and
just a huge cross ditch out of nowhere, like crazy on a straightaway, like straight as far as the eye can see, just a massive cross ditch in the road.
It was quite abrupt, and we hit it really hard, and we stopped, we got out, we kind of like shook ourselves off, and then when we got back in the truck, both of us were like, something sounds different about the truck, and it is
like louder in the cab.
Yeah, it's been like obnoxiously loud and vibraty, far more than normal 4BT things, and it's been getting worse. Every time we shut off the truck, it's hitting something. So I think we've like shifted the transmission or something. Maybe it's a body mount that collapsed or something, and it's, I don't know. I can't figure it out. I've been under the truck so much over the last day. I can't seem to find what the problem is. So I don't want to wind up getting all the way out to the north coast and it's giving up the ghost on me, and having to either get a buddy to come and pull us out or tow us out, or having to get a tow truck, because that gets really expensive for all parties really quickly. So we're gonna kind of start aiming towards home from here. We're gonna go explore Port Alice for a few minutes, and then take Highway 30 back to 19 and start making our way back towards home. And yeah, I'm gonna have to have some second pair of eyes, try and figure out what we've done to the truck, and then hopefully get it repaired.
Yeah.
Yep. This trip is a shakedown trip. We literally came out here to figure out what will break and what doesn't work, and we found so many things that we need to make better, and so on and so forth. So
we crashed into a cross ditch harder than we've crashed into anything with Betty in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And we almost took Jerry for a swim in a lake.
Yep.
Had to winch out. So yeah, we really shook it down.
So I need a full complement of recovery gear the next trip, because who knows what's going to happen on the next one. And then
we didn't think we needed max tracks and
2 shovels and a tree saver and the weighted blanket thingy and all of that. So anyway,
thank God we had the winch. Whoopsie.
Yeah, so we're gonna just kind of enjoy the spot a little bit longer, pack up, and head to Port Alice and do a little bit more exploring.
Before making it out to Port Alice, we stopped off at the Devil's Bath, a massive karst sinkhole, or for all of you who have been to Yucatan, Mexico, a cenote. It's considered one of Canada's largest cenotes and measures in at 359 meters in diameter and 44 meters deep. Yeah, me too. I was today years old when I learned that Canada has cenotes. short drive later, we had reached the outer limits of Port Alice, a small town located on the banks of the Narotsos Inlet. We made a quick stop off at the water to air up the tires before going into town for a bite to eat. Port Alice definitely piqued our interest. It's a small town, out of the way with lots of access to waterways, lakes, and North Island adventures, and will definitely be a place we visit again in the coming months.
Well, tell me.
So we're in Port Alice and there's a food truck. Apparently they've got great food, so we had to stop for burgers. And I mean, look at.
There's a view. A wonderful, wonderful view with good food.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty.
Yum.
And with that, it was time to start heading south again. Prior to leaving on this trip, we definitely had plans to explore much longer and had hoped to cross off a few more places on our list, but the rest of North Island will have to wait for our eventual return. Making sure we do not wind up on a distant beach with something severely wrong with the truck is of higher importance than checking a box. We still got a fair amount of summer left to get the truck more buttoned up, and shoulder season here on the island is really where it's at. So we'll be back out exploring then. For now, we're heading to one last lake before returning home and getting back into the shop. Overall, I think it was a successful trip. At the very least, we made it out into the wild and got a break from the grind of working on the truck. Now we have a slightly better mental image of the island and the places that are close by. This was our first trip out in the truck, the first of many as we test and modify the truck so that when we leave to drive around the world, we're doing so in something that we know is dependable, tough, and built from experience. Thanks for coming along with us on this one. We appreciate each and every one of you that has stuck with us through all these adventures we go on. As always, there's much more to come, so stay tuned and we'll see you in the next one. Until then, keep on roaming.
Okay, so we're doing a comparison, or at least we're going to try and get our miles per gallon. We're just going to compare how many liters versus how many kilometers we've done, and hopefully figure out roughly our efficiency. Receipts. All right, so we have got our totals. On our trip, we drove 757 kilometers and burned 92 liters of fuel, which puts us at 19.01 miles per gallon of mixed, like, back roads and highway driving. So not bad. It's a mile per gallon better than my low estimate. I definitely think that we burned more fuel on the highway just because we were driving around at a higher RPM, which that can definitely be accounted for and adjusted for. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. 19 miles per gallon out of a pickup is pretty friggin' great, and it can only get better.
Well, hey there folks. Thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. We really appreciate you guys doing that. Before you take off for the rest of your day, I just want to leave you with one last note. If you guys are looking for a way to further support this channel other than liking, commenting, and subscribing, we do have a Patreon page where you can support us financially. We just want to shout out our patrons that are already there. We really appreciate you guys, especially in the last 2 to 3 months or so. It's been a real challenge for us to make videos, build the truck, do life, and get all those videos out to the internet. So we've had to slow down our posting schedule, and we haven't been paid so much by YouTube, and everything's getting pretty tight. So the additional financial support has been fantastic. If you guys are looking to extend your support financially, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. There you will get behind the scenes updates, updates on the build. We do them weekly, sometimes almost daily. And although this truck may not look right now like there has been a lot of changes to it, there have been a ton of changes. And I just haven't been able to get them out on the internet and show everyone because I'm trying to make complete videos. So if you guys are curious to see what's going on with the truck and where we are with that, check out our Patreon page. And yeah, that's pretty much all I'm going to leave you with for now. Thank you to all of you who are already supporting us. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you in the next one. Later.